The 1950s. A time of booming industry, backyard barbecues and bold dreams. Post-war America was on a high, optimistic, ambitious, and eager to define a new era, and nothing captured that spirit more than the cars. These weren't just machines to get you from A to B. They were rolling status symbols, chrome-drenched works of art, each one a promise of the future. Automakers weren't just building vehicles, they were sculpting fantasy on four wheels. But behind the fins and flash, not every ride was a success story. Some were more illusion than innovation. Beautiful on the outside, but flawed beneath the surface. Today on Regal Rides, we're pulling back the curtain on 12 of the most ambitious misfires in American automotive history. Not to mock them, but to explore the bold risks, design blunders, and strategic missteps that left even the best-looking cars collecting dust in the shadows. Number 12, 1951, Mercury Monterey. The 1951 Mercury Monterey looked like it was ready for the silver screen. Long, low, and dripping in chrome, it had the curves of a Hollywood starlet. Ford designed it for buyers wanting more flair than a basic sedan without stepping into full-blown Lincoln territory. Visually, it nailed the assignment. It was the kind of car you'd imagine pulling up to a drive-in movie under a neon glow. But looks only take you so far. Step on the gas, and reality hit. Under the hood sat a flathead V8, adequate, sure, but far from thrilling. The steering was heavy, the chassis felt bloated, and the driving experience, like trying to hustle a leather couch through a slalom course. Inside, it was roomy and refined, but no better than cheaper competitors, and with a price tag that stretched expectations, buyers quickly realized the Monterey was more fashion than function. In the end, it was a classic case of style, outpacing substance. A car that turned heads but never captured hearts. Number 11, 1950 Ford Crestliner. In the heat of the post-war car boom, Ford knew it needed something fresh to stand out. Their answer, the 1950 Crestliner, a sleek sedan crowned with a vinyl roof. That's right, Ford's bold move was a fake leather top. At first glance, it looked upscale, giving off a sort of sporty, custom vibe. But pop the hood, and the illusion faded. The Crestliner packed the same old flathead V8, rode on standard suspension, and offered zero groundbreaking features. Beneath the flashy roof was just another Ford, nothing more. Worse yet, that vinyl was divisive. Some loved its flair, others thought it looked cheap, like a tuxedo with clip-on cuffs, and that was the bigger issue. Once you stripped away the gimmick, the Crestliner had no clear edge over its rivals from Chevrolet or Plymouth. It wasn't long before Ford quietly shelved the Crestliner. Today, it's mostly forgotten. Not because it was ugly, but because it embodied a dangerous philosophy, chasing style over substance. Number 10, 1959 Chevrolet El Camino. Now this one had potential. Imagine a car that's also a truck. Coupe comfort meets pickup practicality. That was the promise of the 1959 Chevrolet El Camino, a bold idea riding on the glamorous bones of the Impala. From the outside, it was a stunner. Sweeping lines, massive tail fins, and a low, show-stopping stance. But when it came time to haul, the El Camino struggled. Its shallow bed and soft suspension couldn't handle real work duty. And as a car, it was a compromise, tight inside, rough around the edges, and less comfortable than the average sedan. Meanwhile, Ford launched the Ranchero. It wasn't as flashy, but it worked. More balanced, more usable, and it stole the El Camino's thunder almost overnight. The 59 El Camino proved a hard truth. When you try to be everything at once, you risk doing nothing well. And that lesson still echoes today. Number 9, 1957, Lincoln Premier. If XS had a mascot in the 50s, it might have been the Lincoln Premier. Just one glance and you knew it wasn't just a car, it was a rolling declaration of dominance. Nearly 19 feet long, over 5,000 pounds, chrome so thick you could see your future in it. The Premier shouted luxury from every angle. But behind the glamour, a behemoth of impracticality. Driving it felt like captaining a yacht through city streets. Visibility was poor, the rear sat awkwardly high, and despite a powerful V8, it moved with all the urgency of a parade float. Even gas stations sighed when they saw it coming. Yes, the interior was plush, thick seats, electric everything, top-tier materials. But innovation? Not so much. While Cadillac was pushing boundaries with new tech, Lincoln seemed content to just look the part. In the end, the Premier's downfall was its obsession with size and spectacle. It was a car built to impress, but not to evolve. Number 8. 1958 Buick Limited. In the golden era of American luxury, Buick was once a symbol of taste and upward mobility, a bridge between practicality and prestige. But in 1958, the brand took a detour and ended up lost in a sea of chrome. Enter the Buick Limited. Over 19 feet long and tipping the scales near 5,000 pounds, this wasn't so much a car as it was a land yacht. Built to dazzle, it rolled onto showroom floors dripping in excess, chrome on every curve, fins stretching skyward, and enough glitter to blind a passing pedestrian. Under the hood, it housed a hefty 364 cubic inch V8, powerful on paper, but with fuel economy deep in the single digits. It was a gas guzzler, even by 1950s standards. Inside? Sure. It was swaddled in leather and packed with every electric accessory Buick could think of. But comfort couldn't disguise the fact that the Limited was bloated, clumsy, and out of touch with the real needs of American drivers. Its biggest flaw? Philosophy. Buick believed more was better. More metal, more trim, more size. But the result was a car that looked extravagant, but felt like overkill. Priced like a Cadillac, but without the pedigree or polish, it floundered in showrooms. Fewer than 7,500 units sold. And by 1959, the Limited quietly vanished. Today, it stands as a shiny warning. When luxury turns into excess, even the boldest beauty can sink. Number 7. 1957. Ford Skyliner Retractable. A convertible at the push of a button? In 1957, that sounded like science fiction, but Ford made it real with the Skyliner Retractable, the first mass-produced car with a fully electric, retractable hardtop. It was engineering wizardry. 7 electric motors, 6 locking mechanisms, 4 lift jacks, and nearly 600 feet of wiring. When it worked, it was mesmerizing. A dance of motors and metal folding the roof neatly into the trunk. But when it didn't work, it was a nightmare. One glitch, one faulty motor, and the whole system locked up. And speaking of trunks, good luck fitting luggage. The retracted roof consumed nearly all the space, leaving little room for more than a picnic basket. All that complexity added weight, cost, and compromise. The Skyliner was heavier, thirstier, and clumsier than its siblings. At nearly $3,000, a solid $33,000 today, buyers had to ask, was the mechanical ballet really worth the everyday sacrifices? Today, the Skyliner is admired by collectors for its innovation and uniqueness. But back then, it was a cautionary tale. Sometimes, just because you can engineer something, doesn't mean you should. Number 6. 1955 Cadillac Eldorado Biarritz. If you wanted the ultimate symbol of mid-century American opulence, the 1955 Cadillac Eldorado Biarritz was it. Sleek, extravagant, and unapologetically glamorous. It wasn't just a car, it was a statement. A 2-door convertible dripping in chrome, crowned with soaring tail fins, and topped with a price tag north of $6,200, nearly $70,000 today. At first glance, it was automotive royalty. But beneath the gold trim and leather seats lurked an inconvenient truth. The Biarritz was more show than go. Its 331 cubic inch V8 produced 270 horsepower. Yet the car's massive weight and wide stance made it sluggish and awkward to drive, especially in tight urban spaces. What made it worse? The tech, or rather, the lack of it. For all its flash, the Biarritz offered nothing groundbreaking. No innovative performance, no new engineering tricks, just glitter, glam, and image. And image came at a price. Custom parts were expensive, repairs were a nightmare. Maintaining the Eldorado Biarritz wasn't just costly, it was impractical. In the end, it became a symbol not of cutting-edge luxury, but of vanity. A car that turned heads, but rarely delivered the satisfaction its price promised. Number 5. 1959 Cadillac Eldorado Brougham. If money were no object in 1959, you might have found yourself behind the wheel of the Cadillac Eldorado Brougham, a car so extravagant it cost more than some houses. With a sticker price of over $13,000 back then, roughly $135,000 today, this car was the absolute pinnacle of Cadillac's luxury obsession. Hand-assembled with a body crafted from stainless steel, a brushed steel roof, memory seats, lamb's wool carpeting, and even a factory-installed perfume dispenser, it was the Rolls-Royce of Detroit. But under all that glitter, things weren't so smooth. Its advanced air suspension was groundbreaking and also notoriously unreliable. The car's weight was so immense that even the powerful V8 struggled to move it with grace, and its dense electric gadgetry, A technician's worst nightmare. Cadillac only built 99 of these mechanical marvels in 1959. Today, they're rare collector pieces, more art than automobile. Because when you push luxury this far, you stop building for drivers and start building for museum displays. Number 4. 1956, DeSoto Adventurer. The name Adventurer promised thrills, speed, and performance. DeSoto wanted a halo car to rival the Corvette and Thunderbird, a bold two-tone coupe with a Hemi V8 and attitude to match. On paper, the 1956 Adventurer was a fire breather. Over 300 horsepower, sleek styling, and curb appeal that could stop traffic. But when the rubber hit the road, things fell apart. The suspension was soft, the brakes were weak, and the chassis was heavy. Instead of a performance coupe, buyers got a boat in sportswear. It looked ready to race, but drove like it was late to Sunday brunch. Buyers expecting a muscle machine were left with disappointment, and that gap between expectation and reality was fatal. In an era where performance mattered, the Adventurer just didn't deliver, and so it faded. Today, the DeSoto Adventurer is remembered as a cautionary tale. If you promise excitement, you better engineer it to thrill. Because in the world of classic American performance, looks alone don't win races or buyers. Number 3. 1958, Lincoln Continental Mark III. Some cars make you feel like a king behind the wheel. But the 1958 Lincoln Continental Mark III, that made you feel like the captain of a steel battleship, one that just rolled out of a naval yard. Nearly 20 feet long and weighing in at over 5,000 pounds, the Mark III wasn't just large, it was colossal. Lincoln built it as a direct shot at Cadillac, pouring in cutting-edge features, 6-way power seats, power windows, even a power trunk. It looked impressive on paper, but in reality, the Mark III was a case of ambition outweighing execution. Literally, its enormous 430 cubic inch V8 struggled to haul its bulk. Fuel economy was atrocious, and its mechanical complexity often turned simple repairs into nightmares. Design-wise, it was a tank in a tuxedo, blocky, stubby tail fins. A fortress-like front end. Luxury? Maybe, but refinement? Not quite. With a price tag brushing $6,000 over $65,000 today, the Mark III faced off against the Cadillac Eldorado and lost that duel in grace and reliability. Today, it's remembered not for what it achieved, but for what it represented, the dangerous belief that bigger automatically meant better. Spoiler alert, it didn't. Number 2. 1958, Edsel Pacer. Few cars in American history carry as much baggage as the 1958 Edsel Pacer. Born from Ford's grand vision to slot between Ford and Mercury, the Edsel was supposed to be a revolutionary brand. Instead, it became one of the most infamous failures the auto world has ever seen. The Pacer arrived on a tidal wave of hype, backed by one of the largest marketing campaigns in history. And then customers saw it. That now legendary horse-collar grille. Instead of turning heads, it turned stomachs. Awkward, oversized, and ridiculed, even in its own era. But design wasn't the only problem. Underneath the unusual bodywork, the Edsel Pacer was riddled with issues: poor build quality, finicky electrical systems, and a complicated teletouch push-button transmission that was more liability than innovation. Priced around $2,900, it was pitched as a step-up luxury experience. But buyers found themselves dealing with breakdowns, misaligned panels, and a lack of dealer support. Add in an economic downturn, and the result was disaster. The Edsel Pacer didn't just flop, it collapsed under the weight of overhype and underdelivery. A brutal lesson that even the best marketing can't save a product that doesn't deliver where it counts. Number 1, 1959 Ford Edsel Ranger. And at number 1 we come full circle to the most iconic misstep of them all. The 1959 Edsel Ranger. If the Edsel brand was a gamble, the Ranger was the losing hand. Marketed as a bold mid-tier offering, the Ranger was meant to appeal to a wide range of buyers. Instead, it became the poster child for Detroit's overreach. Visually, it stuck with that infamous horse-collar grille, a design choice so polarizing it overshadowed everything else. But even if you could get past the looks, the Ranger's problems were just getting started. It was crammed with features that sounded great in theory: push-button gear selectors, domed electric gauges, and futuristic touches everywhere. But in practice, those systems were fragile, expensive to repair, and prone to failure. The lessons these cars teach us: these weren't just flawed cars, they were bold ideas that pushed boundaries, chased dreams, and sometimes missed by a mile. But every single one of them tells a story of an era that dared to go big, often without a safety net. From chrome-laden giants to engineering experiments gone awry, they remind us that the road to greatness is littered with beautiful mistakes, because in the end, great looks aren't enough. Flashy features aren't enough. A car only earns its place in history when it delivers something real to the driver, something that lasts beyond the showroom and the sales pitch. If you enjoyed this dive into the wild side of classic American cars, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Regal Rides, and drop a comment below. Which of these misfires do you think deserve better or worse? We've got more forgotten legends, sleeper beasts, and untold stories just around the bend. Until next time, keep those engines purring and the chrome shining. We'll see you on the road.